Long time ago, a demigod lady came into existence and lives in the equivalent of the magic railroad, but it's known as the purgatory in this world. One of her abilities was the magic ball of dust, and in the beginning spread it around the world for others to find. This made a small group of people who worshipped Lady to become a thing. Years passed, and the world depended on magic in daily life, making it a sort of dungeon fantasy punk setting. Edward was a man who grew up in a kind environment, which made him grow up to have a very friendly and supportive personality. In his 20s, he moved to a more populated city, which was starkly different from his old home, but remained positive and got a job teaching students there. He met a woman who he fell in love with and had a relationship with. Then he befriended a trio of young teens, Gordon. The oldest of the three and was highly ambitious, but it stems from being outshined from his siblings. Henry, a moody barber, had a passion for quieter jobs, but is often very sick, and James, with a passion for arts, but is looked down upon for having them. These groups' families were part of high-class families who forced the three into being friends, but they constantly argued and probably want the best for each other. When Edward stepped into the picture, the trio did not like him at first, but as Edward insisted and tried helping, the trio loosened up and started being nicer. Thomas and Percy were children in a foster home. They were the only ones who were similar in age and were possibly the closest friends there. Thomas was there for unknown reasons, while Percy was there because he was separated from his family and had hoped to find them one day. So Thomas found it ridiculous soon enough. Edward was married to the woman, and they adopted the child, Thomas, from the foster home. Thomas didn't want to leave Percy behind, but he really wanted to go out and see the world. Because of this change, Edward didn't have time for Gordon, Henry, and James, so slowly he became more distant, and soon after, the trio tried distancing themselves from each other. Years passed, and tensions had erupted into wars for gold dust, calling it the Gold Rush Wars, and a lot of things had happened. Percy, who was in his late teens and inspired by Thomas' sense of adventure, went off to find his lost family. Gordon and Henry were enlisted to fight in the Gold Dust Wars. Gordon became high-ranking, while Henry decided instead of fighting to become a nurse to help the injured and sick soldiers. James was put in jail after he fought with his family because of an argument on what made him happy and what was right for the family. Thomas, now with Edward and the woman as his parents, isn't really happy because of his mother's helicopter nature and strictness. He had a role relationship. She was more fond of Edward, who he looked up to, but because Edward never tried stopping her, Thomas resentment grew from this. One day he ran away from home. They never saw him again. Thomas, still on the run, one day passed out in the wilderness, but was found by Henry and was taken to be nursed back to health. Once Thomas knew where he was, he decided to join and become a soldier just to get away from his family. While there, he was often snarky and cheeky, especially towards Gordon, but as time went on, they became more okay with each other. Near the end of the war, the true tragedy surfaced. Thomas and Gordon were in some of the last battles. During one, Percy, who had been traveling, was in the middle of a war, and Thomas, recognizing Percy, tried to guide him out of the area, but was shot down from the enemy side. Noticing the enemies aiming towards Gordon, and already feeling immense guilt for not saving his friend, Thomas sacrificed himself to try and save Gordon, but was in vain when Gordon was also killed in the battle. After Thomas, Edward and his wife, while running from an attack, tried hiding for safety in a shelter. Edward lost his wife because she couldn't keep up. Edward, all alone in the shelter, mourning the death of his wife and the guilt of not helping his son. He died broken-hearted. Henry discovered he had tuberculosis, and two doctors heard on this. They manipulated Henry into doing what they said so they could cure him, but after the doctors were out, they put the blame on Henry and he was thrown in jail in the same cell as James. Henry died from his tuberculosis, but with no one knowing about Henry's illness, accused James of murder and was executed for a crime he did not commit. Lady, seeing all the blood caused by the grief of her gold dust, decided to take all of the magic from Earth, only trusting it to her worshippers could decrease only the future family of the conductors. Lady also realized that many souls to those who have perished could not pass on to the afterlife because of the war, but she also saw that with no magic on Earth, that people turned to industry and made their world a steampunk setting. Lady, seeing this, came up with the idea of reincarnating the lost souls and tethered them to engines that fit their personality in their human life, making a human-looking species called Opera's differences being the green skin and their aesthetic looking like the engine they're tethered to. And once they are the scrapper found out the reason why they couldn't pass, they can finally move on. Thomas, Edward, Henry, Gordon, James, and Percy were all reincarnated with their respective engines. They would go on to claim their lore and how they would pass on along with other characters.